Hello, everybody. Welcome your cute booties over to The Bakery with YungD0nut, the most pristine and amazing podcasts to ever bless the world. I hope you're having an amazing Monday because it's Wednesday, and that's just, I don't know, that's just kind of how we introduce, that's just how we introduce the show, and if you don't like that, well, fuck, I don't really know where to go from here, but we are blessed yet again, as we always are, which I think that's something I need to change up eventually. I don't know, we'll get there, but like I said, we're fucking blessed today because my man Qerb is here with us. Qerb, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show.
Yo, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Dude,
doing all right.
Dude, pleasure is all mine. It's an absolute honor to get to interview this man, and the only reason I feel like I should preface this now because of just how funny this is. This profile picture that we have up right now is actually my man Qerb's Discord profile picture, and it is just amazing. How did you go about finding this again?
It's a treat. I think one of my homies just found it and was just like, I think like I said something and he responded with it with this, and I was just like, holy shit, I'm saving this to everything and just I'm using it for everything basically.
It's just gonna represent you for the rest of your life. Just everything is okay.
Yeah, anything that good that ever happens is just, this is me when it happens.
Do you know how long ago you found or you got it sent to you?
About a year ago, maybe a little more. Yeah. So
have you started every time you hit like a sick 9 combo on a song, you just look at the camera, you just strike the
yeah. Oh no, the 9, I don't know. I've 9'd for so long that when I get it, it doesn't even like phase me anymore. I'm just like, oh,
no way.
Yeah.
Really?
It just, yeah, because I'm like, it's just been too many times, you know. Like,
dude, what, H-Box still throws a chair into the audience when he hits a rest. How do you not pop off when you get a 9?
Yeah, but that's H-Box. I mean,
that's fair.
We don't have to get into that.
fair.
I mean, because if I pop off for a 9, I'm basically like popping off because I got lucky. You know, it's like that. It's not. If I were to pop off, it would be if I do something like super sick that I like definitely earned.
Ah, I see what you mean. I mean, that does almost eliminate like a follow-up question later that we'll get into about about luck versus your character. I mean, that's just.
Oh yeah.
Because every Luigi main thinks like they get every misfire under the sun, you know.
Yeah, I feel like they do too.
Game & Watches get the 9s though more than anyone.
Maybe. For me, it's like it depends on the day. It's like, or like the setup. Who knows? Like there's sometimes where I'm just getting them left and right, and there's sometimes where I just can't stop getting like 4s. I don't know why it's always 4, but.
I mean, the fact that you remember that it's 4 clearly says that you've struggled with it enough.
Too often. I'm like, there's something wrong with this RNG machine.
Who's fucking with my numbers out here? I don't appreciate this. But yeah. So that's the story behind this. We'll go ahead and switch it over to that beautiful face. Man, that's a handsome face. Look at this guy. Have to compliment where compliments are due. So Qerb it is truly a tradition around here whenever we have a person on to go ahead and introduce yourself, but we're going to do it a little different today. And by doing it a little different, I mean I can hear my dog barking downstairs, which means she has to probably go pee. So I'm going to go let her out while you go ahead and do a fantastic intro to this audience. We've returned.
Oh, hello.
All right. So let's see here. You were talking about full bloom already? We're already there.
Yeah, I was just talking about like my recent happenings.
Oh, true.
That's all. Just saying how I just got back from there. Nice. Recovering.
The recovery aftermath. Did you have a good time at full bloom overall?
Yeah. It's a great tournament for sure.
Who runs that? That's DJ Nintendo, or no, not DJ Nintendo, Nintendo Dude and his group of people, right?
Yeah. I think he wasn't there, but I think it is his group of people. I'm not sure exactly, but I know like Bro was doing a lot of stuff. Like he was doing basically like hunting down players, making sure they're ready for stream and things like that.
Yeah.
The tournament gets moving.
He when we had him on, he's talked a lot about how that's like actually something he really, really loves doing, and it's almost like one of those conflicting situations where it's like he wants to be a top level player, obviously, but he really loves helping with like stream and setup and stuff.
Yeah, and you definitely can't do both of those things. Like if you saw him Saturday, he was literally just running up and down the venue over and over, just finding people, making sure they're on deck for stream, saying, "Okay, you got." After Lucky, you're next, like that kind of thing, like just like setting up a queue basically.
Right.
So he was putting in work.
He's sick. Shoutouts to Vro and everyone at Full Bloom. That was such a great tournament that that we could definitely talk about that a little later. But for now, what I want to know, and I think a lot of people want to know, is what the hell is a Qerb?
Oh man. Okay, so all right, so when I was 16, that's when I first started playing. And I was like signing up for Smashboards, and because I just found out about it, and like that was around the time when like Ken, PC, Chris, Isaiah, like those guys were like the best players, you know, like winning every tournament. So I was just like, I went on Smashboards and I was like, oh, I need a tag. And so basically how it goes is when I played 64, like Smash in 64, I was a Kirby main. So naturally, the first character I try in Melee was Kirby. So, and then along with Kirby, I was also playing Game & Watch and Falco, only because I thought they were cool characters. I didn't really know much about them. So, so I was like, okay, I want my name to be like something to do with Kirby. But I was like 16, and I was kind of like a gangster back then. Like I like played a lot of basketball, and like, you know, I like listened to hip hop. Like I was one of those. I wore like 3XL hoodies. Like I was one of those kids in high school. So
he was thugging.
I was straight thugging in high school. So I was like, I want my tag to like look cool. I don't want it to just be like, you know, Kirby Master 5000 or something. So I just like kind of changed the letters around. I wanted it to make it look cool, and I didn't quite wear a do-rag. Maybe I didn't take it that far, but yeah, so I just wanted to look cool, and that's kind of like the spin-off I came up with. So I mean, that's pretty much it. It's, you know, I was 16 and it was silly, and now everyone mispronounces my tag and they say Qerb. But, you know, I brought this upon myself, so...
Wait, Qerb?
Yeah.
Where is there a W in this?
I don't know. I think it's just like people, like, you know, after every word that starts with Q, there's usually a U after, so they kind of just put it... Yeah. Even whenever, like, if I'm registering for a tournament and someone asks me what my tag is, and I say Qerb, and then I'm like, Qerb, Qerb, and they're like Q-U, and I was like Q-E-R. Like this happens to me every single time.
That's insane. I don't know how I could never see that. Qerb. I don't know. I mean, maybe to each their own, you know, like who am I to judge? But
yeah,
I'm definitely judging. High key. If I ever go to a tournament that you're at and I hear you get called Qerb, I'm going to give them the what face for sure.
Yeah. I'm like, you know, how do you pronounce like herb, for example? Like,
oh yeah.
You know, like that's the comparison I make. It's like, I'm like, it's not Qerb.
That's amazing. All right. So you said you started when you were 16. Now, was there family that got you into competitive Smash? Was it friends? What was it exactly?
It was friends. It was actually like one friend I had in particular that basically like one of my really good friends in high school. We would just play games like Pokemon and stuff together, but we started getting bored. Like we would play like Showdown and do like EV training and things like that. And then, you know, that got boring on like during the summer. I had like basketball practice in the morning. I had like volunteer work in the afternoon, and then the whole rest of the day just, you know, when you're in high school summers, you got no responsibilities. So we just like started playing some of his old like GameCube games one day, and then we were playing Melee, and I remember asking him, I'm like, I wonder if there's like some kind of like, if there are pros at this, you know, at this game. And then, you know, we started searching, found like Ken versus Bomb Soldier, and we were like, I was convinced that it was like in lightning mode,
Oh, like the
lightning mode of
super fast melee, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, there's no way this is the same game that we were just playing. And so then we did our research, found Smash Wars, and then it was just a wrap from there.
That's
pretty much.
crazy. You know, it's
Yeah.
actually really funny. The reason I was asking about it was I was really hoping you would say, "Well, I got into an impromptu dance battle with some friends outside, and we just decided to take it to Smash." Because I was looking at your
man.
Facebook and stuff for a way to find like a good profile picture for you, and I came across this like 8-bit dance battle video that's on your page. I don't know if you know that it's there. It's like 11 years old.
I don't know at all what you're talking about. I'm gonna have to check that out later.
Would highly recommend. It's a very great like 30-second impromptu dance battle of a bunch of squares just kind of moving in weird patterns because it's like recorded on like a Nokia phone, I think.
Oh man,
I don't know.
I need to go back and check that. I'm not too sure.
But nonetheless, so you did your research, you find Smash boards. Then the ultimate decision that I think everyone also wonders is why Game & Watch? What made you so drawn to playing this character, and was this your first character? I know you were saying you liked Kirby at first. How long did that last?
Me trying out Kirby, like I remember like I was in high school, I like printed out all the like notes on Kirby from all like the sticky threads and stuff, and I was like reading them and like trying things. And then after probably 5-6 months, I was just like, this character is just too bad. I was like, I can't. He just felt so weak. Like I was like not playing well compared to other people who I didn't think I should be losing to and things like that. So I kind of slowly gave up on him, so I started playing my other two characters, Game & Watch and Falco, and then I also started picking up Sheik because Korean DJ at the time was playing Sheik, and he was like really sick to watch. So at that point I had like 3 characters, and then basically I didn't really start attending tournaments immediately when I started playing. My first local was probably in 2008, around there, or 2009 even, in that time period. And I went to my first local. It was a tournament in Jersey City, and I was in my first matchup. I had to play a Falcon, and like of the 3 characters I had, for some reason I liked Game & Watch the most out of those 3. So I did that, and I won. And then like the TO came up to me of that local, and he was like, praising my Game & Watch, saying all these nice things, and I was like, that was my first tournament. So like, it felt good. I was like, oh man, like everyone likes my Game & Watch, so I gotta keep playing Game & Watch. So the rest of the tournament I just played Game & Watch. I ended up losing to like Ryan K, like old school like New York Smashers.
Right.
I lost to, and they were like really good at the time. I mean, Ryan K, you're still sick, but
no disrespect towards Ryan K.
That was definitely your prime, yeah. Like this tournament had like 14-year-old hacks at it. Like it was like in that.
Oh my god, baby hacks!
When his voice was still high pitched.
that's a fucking world I can't live in. I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, it's really funny, but so from that tournament on, I was like really. I was like a lot more focused on Game & Watch, because I was like, oh, I guess I'm able to do things with this character. I was still playing Sheik like in teams especially, and I would still counterpick Sheik for certain matchups. Like I started actually picking Sheik more for Falcon later on, just because no one knew how to deal with like down throw tech chase stuff with Sheik. So I was like, you just abused the hell out of that back. But yeah, so I watch like all Dire Vulcan videos. He's like a player who kind of moves on with every Smash game. I don't think he's very active now. He was doing some Smash 4 commentary and stuff, but at that time he was like the best Game & Watch, and he was like getting results. Like there's like sets of him playing in grand finals with like Mewtwo King and stuff.
Oh wow.
And like King of the Couch 5 or something like that. So I watched all of his videos, and then I watched Bomb Soldier also had like a secondary Game & Watch, and he has like a video against Kyoto, some like Japanese Falco, and he did like some insane combos, like some combos that are still sick like to this day. So
Damn.
yeah, so those two players definitely like inspired me to like play him more.
So Game and Watch though is one of those characters that when you think about him, not many names, come to mind as like,
Yeah.
oh, well, here's who's been killing it with Game & Watch, or here's someone that has all the info. What was it that, not even what was it, but what did you do when you're starting out to first try and kind of make a name, not even make a name, but try and progress yourself as that Game & Watch player?
Yeah, so I mean, at first I was just trying to make sure I could apply like everything I was seeing in those videos, but then not too late after, I basically hit a point where I kind of have to start solving like new problems that come about by myself. And I actually think that that was really like fun and rewarding to do. So it was actually like a cool thing for me. But the one drawback to it is since there aren't other players. I mean, there are some other Game and Watch players, but like overall, like I mean, you didn't see that many Game and Watch players like thriving in tournaments or like placing too well at regional or higher events. So sometimes it gets to a point where it's like, is this possible? And you can definitely doubt, because it's not like, if you're a top tier main, you just look up who the good top tiers are, and whether or not the character perform is already known for you.
Right.
So it's just a matter of you being able to adopt those things and work on them. But for me, it was kind of like I hope I can figure something out, because I'm like dedicating myself to the character. So it was like a rewarding thing, but also like a doubtful thing at the same time, like a double-edged sword type thing.
Right. So it kind of became more of I'd like to think of this, and I feel like I've had this conversation before with people. Hell, I might have even just had this type of conversation. I talked with a rookie last week, and we talked a lot about how in that time, it kind of becomes a lot like the PPMD thing, where it's like you can't always look to other people, but you're going to record every match that you can. You're going to study what you do. You're going to pick up on your habits. That type of thing starts to happen more and more.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I probably watch my own videos the most out of anyone, willing to bet. So I've definitely checked out a lot of other Game Watch players, also like the Phenom from SoCal, who's not as active anymore, but definitely like one of the most creative Game Watch players.
Right.
So it definitely was, especially at that time when you don't have like VODs readily available. It's like you go to like Smashboard's video discussion and you just hit refresh until something new gets posted, and hope like one of your videos is in there somewhere and like didn't get corrupted. But yeah, it was just like you just kind of take whatever resources you have and like theory craft, and just I played a lot also with a lot of my friends. My high school's like really stacked for Smash. We had like Swedish Delight, Mr. F, a lot of good players, Burt Bus Driver 7, and like players, like a lot of players who have done well in tournaments and stuff. So definitely had like all the good practice around me. So it was just a matter of like figuring out matchup things and like movement things, things of that nature. So
for sure. You ever wonder how like your friends kind of take that though, when they know like, hey, what are you doing today? Oh, I'm going over to Qerb's to practice. What are you what are you gonna practice against this Game and Watch that you can't practice? Like, it's
I always meme about that too. I mean, obviously, like the character I play, I say things like, oh, I'm practicing you to beat me when we play in tournament, because that's honestly what, at this point, especially in 2019, when there's probably the fewest Game and Watch mains in tournament history, it pretty much is what that is. But I still think it helps with like practicing with punishing and spacing around his big disjoints, which can definitely apply to other characters like Marth or any character like Jigglypuff, any characters like big disjoints that kind of go in and out.
right.
So I don't, obviously it doesn't like affect you directly, but there's some merit to it
for sure.
But I'm always thankful for the people who play me, like give me practice, because obviously it's not the same as like your Fox main friend who you're always going to encounter a Fox or
Yeah.
any other top tier for that matter.
It's not random net play Falco number 2004 that like we can practice against any day of the year. This is a professional, like this is an actual Game and Watch main. This dude has studied this character enough and played it against the people that know his style. I totally get what you mean. I totally get you.
Yeah. So sometimes it does feel funny because you go to a tournament, you want to play with some of the good players there who you might not get to play with all the time, and it's like, I'm not like a top tier player, and it's like I wonder if they're interested in playing, and then so it's kind of like it's not as easy as if you just play a regular top tier. I know other characters, like even Ice Climbers, for example, have problems because it's like, oh, I wonder if they're gonna care if I wobble them in friendlies.
Right.
It's kind of like one of those things. I'm sure people like Axe have a similar thing. It's like you give someone Pikachu practice, and it's like, well, this will only come in handy if I face you. Basically.
Yep. See, that was gonna bring up the question of like studying. Even I'm trying to think. I think I saw like a few, maybe like 2 or 3 videos of even like M2K playing Game and Watch in tournament. It's It's like, is that even worth studying in your opinion?
I did watch those videos, but there's just so many things that like he doesn't do. There are some things he does great just because he's a great player, like his spacing, his movement, his things like that. But there are so many wrong things that I see also. So there's always like some good things I can learn. I especially learned like tech chasing Fox with Game & Watch, like by Armada, for example. So I definitely watch his videos doing that because his just reaction to it with tech chasing is just so good. And like I kind of try to position myself where he positions himself, even though it's only like a couple of videos. I've watched like Armada versus Prince Abu friendlies, like anything I can find, basically, just to see what I can find. I mean, obviously all the things in neutral I won't agree with, and like maybe they're not going to be using other tools, like especially Armada Game & Watch, it basically consists of like 3 moves in neutral,
right?
So, which is like, and he uses them very well, but so I just try to take what I can from it and learn,
for sure,
instead of just like disregarding it because it's like
almost a meme.
Game & Watch main. Yeah, it is kind of a meme. I've asked him about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't practice. I just like play it because people want to see it."
Right.
He actually told me that.
I mean, he's not wrong. I will forever say Game & Watch is one of the sickest, like, littler played characters in this whole game. I was while we're talking about things that you can go and watch to like practice, this guy, you might have even heard of this guy Third Chair. His 2018 Melee tech guides that he made when he did his on Game & Watch. Rewatching that, I was even like, wait a minute, holy shit, like I didn't even know about this, like the no impact lands that he has. Some of his his what was it, the fry pan, the fast pan. Well, no, not the pan spike. Rapid pan. That's what it was. I didn't even realize anything about that. Like I had seen it, and I think even I saw something in some of your Qerb Stomp videos. Which, by the way, Bemi is asking, when is Qerb Stomp 3?
Just the Bemi. Qerb Stomp 3 is definitely in the works. Basically, anything that happened since a previous Qerb Stomp is eligible for the next Qerb Stomp. So,
oh hell yeah,
it's only a matter of time.
So keep those eyes open. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I've even seen within your Qerb videos the you almost do this thing where you do a single what is it like? Do you think, actually, this is a great question, are they pancakes, sausages, or bacon?
They are factually sausages. I mean, I prefer bacon, but like as an individual, but they are actually sausages. So they're definitely not pancakes. I don't know where that came from. They're like, if you like zoom in on them, they're like these squiggly 2D lines. So it's kind of like a cartoon sausage, basically.
You heard it here. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I want it to be bacon, but unfortunately, it's sausage.
Listen, man, you can make it whatever you want.
That's true. That's true. And there's actually a couple moves that I have made whatever I want.
Oh wait, yeah, that's a good follow up. What is your forward air? What do you think that is?
Exactly. So the forward air is what it actually is called like cement factory, and it's like a block of
What the
cement.
fuck? What?
Yeah. It's weird. And then but basically for a while we were calling it like the Metro card, especially when I go to like Nebs and stuff, because it's like, oh yeah, so hit him with the round trip, like the double fare. But but then like recently in New Jersey, basically a meme became that since I'm Turkish, people call it, they'll be like, hit him with the baklava, like it tastes like a box of baklava. Yeah, so I've definitely adopted that one. And
The
I kind of
baklava.
Like it.
Baklava is delicious, though. I would be so hyped to get hit with a box of baklava. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, it works out for both of us then.
Hell yeah. Do you name your back air? Do you name your turtle?
Yes, I named him when I was in high school. My turtle's name is Herbert. I just thought it was a good turtle name. There's really nothing else to it.
That's a great name for a turtle, Herbert.
Yeah, it's funny on Smashwords there was a thread once, and it was like, what is your turtle's name? Like mandatory. Like they like tagged everyone who was a Game & Watch me. Like you just had to have one.
That's actually amazing.
Yeah.
What do you call the down air? I always see it as like a keyblade for the most part, but it's also just
I just call it the key, or like major key alert.
Major key.
Fan. Yeah. Major key.
Dude, that's so amazing. I've never even thought about that. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. And then what is the up air exactly? I still don't even understand. He's like pushing air upwards.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually never really thought about what it was. It's just like a toot kind of thing.
It is a toot. It so is. It's the train, dude. He runs the train.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I never thought about it. I was just like, oh, this is a good move when they're above me.
See, this is the type of shit that'll change the Game & Watch meta forever, dude. What is the toot?
Yeah, you're making me think about these things now.
Oh no. Let's see. And then what else is there? There's just the parachute, so that's about it, huh?
Yeah. I mean, people will usually just call it like big ass nair.
Big ass nair.
Yeah, the BAN.
It is huge. It is huge.
Yeah, it is.
Shoutouts to Toph's commentary with Shroom doing his up B to ledge. Up B's huge. Up B's huge.
Yeah. Definitely has hops. Yeah.
But where were we? We were talking about okay, so this guide, the third chair guide, when he's talking about the fast pan, and then what I've seen in yours are almost doing a single pan. You do like the single sausage out, hits them, right, and then it leads perfectly into a fair or a dare spike, which I've seen you do as well. That is, or dare meteor. Sorry, I don't know if it really matters. It sends them down. They're not fucking meteor canceling it. You're sick.
Yeah. Exactly. As long as a spacey is below the edge, he's dead against Game & Watch. So it's just a matter of getting them below the edge. If once they can up B from above the edge, they get a few more options. So that's basically like the fastest way to get them below the stage. The thing is though, his sausages are like RNG, like the trajectory they go.
Okay.
So it's not guaranteed that after the pan spike that the sausage will connect after. I think only like 3 out of the 5 will actually hit after the pan. So
interesting.
There's a good chance it will send them beneath the edge and then you auto kill them, but normally you'd have to continue edge guarding after the rapid pan, but it's still like you can still cover like most of the options at that point.
Gotcha. Just a little bit of Game & Watch tech to drop on the fan real quick.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, people always ask about that, so I think it would be useful for them to know how it works.
Have you ever thought about making your own guide to kind of like help like make a bigger comprehensive world for Game & Watch players, or do you more or less just tell people shut up and go to Smashboards?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is the current Game & Watch guide on Smashboards is all from me, so it's definitely outdated at this point. and I kind of changed it to just like I had like an Ask FM for a while until that whole thing went to shit, basically.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I had people like whenever someone would ask me how, what do I do against Falco lasers, and I would just kind of respond to it. And if someone else asked the same question, which that was a very popular one, I would just kind of copy paste to the next person.
Right.
But at this point, I don't know how valuable it would be, like in a grand sense. Like I don't know how many people would actually be looking for this kind of knowledge. If anything, I feel like making a guide of this sort could just like backfire, if anything. Like for a while, actually, I was thinking about making a Game & Watch ICs guide, because I think that's a really good matchup for Game & Watch. But I'm just like, who's gonna read this? It's gonna be like Ice Climber players that want to know how to beat Game & Watch.
I see.
So yeah, I don't know how. If I had like more people who were willing to try, or for a while there's a Facebook group called the Chic Shack, and they were asking me about Game Watch ICs, because maybe some of them are fed up with Chic ICs.
Oh,
but
okay.
so I basically gave them a bunch of tips. Like I wrote down some things, but it's more so like if people want the information, I'll always provide it. Like I give it to like anyone in my region, even. Like I'm always willing to help.
Mhm.
But I think going as far as making like a really big detailed guide, like an updated one now, might not be like too valuable, like in the grand scheme of things.
Sure. You're the
Yeah.
Diz kid of Game & Watch mains. If you ask,
Yeah.
you'll get the answers. Otherwise, he'll just smile and nine you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm always happy to help. So
For sure.
there are some people who will like before they pay me, they'd be like, "Oh, so what do I do against Game & Watch?" Like, literally like,
Wait,
I'm
what?
like, let me 2-0 you first, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. I'm not gonna tell you. All right, hey, by the way, watch out for my fare. That.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
But
dude?
the thing is though, ever since PM, like Game & Watch became really good, and then also net play started happening, I do think people have a pretty good idea of the matchup, like way more so compared to before.
Mhm.
I don't think matchup inexperience is as much of a factor at all anymore when I play. So even at like, from first round to the last round of the tournament, I still think people really do have a good idea of what he does. So
I think that's a great transition too into Project M as a whole. Like Game & Watch is someone that is very, very solid in that game. Were you ever into that back in the day, or?
No. I mean, I tried Game & Watch, and he is very good. Definitely better, in relation to Game & Watch and Melee in that game. But I think he's good in all the wrong ways. Like he still has a frame 1 up B, or it's very fast. It might be like 2 or 3, but regardless, It's like a really fast up B into like a kill confirm, like literally into a parachute from the top of the stage. Like, and then he has like a missile canceling sausages, like which is fine. Like those kind of things are the kind of buffs that I think he would deserve. But some of the other things just felt kind of unnatural. They changed his down throw, I believe, also. So it doesn't like auto combo the whole cast like it does in Melee, which I'm super used to. So the things that were changed with that character were a little too like far-fetched, and I didn't want it to like mess up with my like Melee stuff. So
I gotcha. And did you ever? When you played it back then, how long did it really take for you to notice this type of stuff? Was this like immediate, or was this Oh,
I mean, because especially like those kind of things I do pretty frequently in games. So as soon as I like down throw someone and they get sent away or like grounded or whatever, I forget what it was. Honestly, it's been a while since I played PM, but I was also just like more interested to see what they did with the other characters. Obviously, I checked out Kirby because he's always been a fan of mine. So I really liked Kirby. That was my main in PM for the most part. So I just like to see how they buffed and changed a lot of the characters. I know there's like another PM going in the works now, and they were asking me for like tips on how to change Game & Watch. So hopefully, if I could get involved with that at all, I could like help him, make him not a busted character the way that I feel like he was supposed to be made in Melee, but wasn't quite like finished or made with much effort.
Right. And
So-
that's a good question to ask as well. Is are you someone that's behind the thought that Game & Watch is this unfinished character that was just kind of put in the game like that, or do you think at the end of the day this is how they wanted Game & Watch to be?
I think he definitely was unfinished. I mean, some of the flaws he has, just they don't make sense to be purposeful. Like, for example, every character in the game can L cancel any of their A aerials, but then with Game & Watch you can't L cancel up air, back air, or nair because the game registers them as special moves, like B moves. So that couldn't have been like a purposeful inclusion. So at the end of the day, I don't think those are his biggest flaws. Like, I don't think those are the flaws that like limit him as much as his others. But there's no reason for those moves to be classified that way when no one in the rest of the class or in the rest of the game has that problem.
All the kids in the class sitting there.
Yeah.
Then there's Game & Watch sitting in the high chair.
Yeah, exactly.
Feels bad. How about unlocking him too? Yeah, definitely. Unlocking him, dude. That is an ultimate struggle. All-star mode.
I remember. There was one tournament. I think it was like the last big pound.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like pound 5 or something. It was like in 2016, I believe. And, and we were playing at our hotel. It was like me, Swedish, like Mr. F, like the Burt crew, the homies, and I was like getting ready to warm up, and then we realized we forgot a memory card because we just had a GameCube. So I was like,
oh no,
what do I do? So what I did was I just picked Mario, who has like the same exact like jump, squat, and movement. Like everything is identical actually with the Mario's and Game & Watch in terms of like wave dash length and jump squat and all that. So I just warmed up with Mario, and then I was just like got to the venue, and I already felt like pretty good. So.
That's actually so disgusting, but that's got to be torture. Like, you go to anyone's place, like even back in the earlier days before we had all these mods and like 20XX and all this, you go to someone's house and they're like,
now.
oh yeah, you go somewhere now and they're just like, yeah dude, we could just play on my fucking computer, it don't matter. Back in the day, you go over to your buddy Timmy's house. Timmy, you ready to play? Yeah, I just gotta unlock everyone real quick. You play Fox or Falco, right? No, I play fucking Game & Watch. That's torture.
Exactly. Yep.
Gotta go and beat the whole game, Timmy. Come on.
Yeah, put in a few hours. Let me know when you're done.
Have you ever seen those the task videos for Game & Watch?
Yeah,
dude,
I have.
Those are insane. Those are
it was really cool to watch because it's like like I wonder like how much I can strive towards this kind of play. I mean, obviously some of the things are bonkers, but some of the things look fairly reasonable that happened in those videos. So it does look really cool, but except for like everything being a 9.
Those were a little. I didn't like that.
It felt like a little like lazy.
Definitely a cop out. Yeah.
So, but overall that video is sick. So
for sure. So actually, this is kind of a good question. Mart M1775 is asking, how many people really use Game & Watch? If you were to put a number to it, how many do you think in our community really do play him seriously?
That's hard. I mean, I could definitely name some players, but a lot of them have become inactive since then. So like there's like the Phenom from SoCal, and like he's done well. Like he's like in his time, he's like taken the set off like Mike Hayes before. He's done some good things there. Then there's Kuya in Florida, who's kind of like a low tier player. He plays like Game & Watch, Kirby, Link, and I know like HBox was telling me like he occasionally like gets some upsets and stuff there. There's Mr. L's, who he used to play Game & Watch, or he's secondaries it now. He's more of a Marth main now. But there's Seb in Europe. So I know he was playing it for a little bit, but I mean it's kind of like declining, I think. I mean, there wasn't really much to begin with anyway.
Sure.
But I think it's one of those things where a lot of Game & Watch players either like kind of stay at like a low mid level, or they eventually switch characters. That's usually the progression.
Right.
So there are a couple that are really good, are just aren't that active now. So there used to also be Jute in I think some in Midwest. I think I want to say like Missouri or something like that.
Mhm.
One of those states, but he was pretty good at it, but he became a Falcon main, so it's just one of those things.
What do you think the reason is behind people not playing this character? You know, like there's people that'll play every character under the sun, but I feel like, and if we didn't really touch on this before, what do you think is the reason people just don't play Game & Watch?
I think it's the problem is if you don't start with Game & Watch, his flaws feel really limiting. So, for example, if you're always used to playing top tiers, high tiers with like good defensive options, especially when you're unable to do what you're used to, it feels really bad. So, like, for example, if you're a Sheik player and you're used to like rolling out of dangerous situations sometimes, which is, Sheik has one of the best rolls in the game, and then you roll with Game & Watch and then you get hit, you feel bad because you've been spoiled by this great defensive mechanic you've had all the time. And obviously those things, like Game Watch's spot dodge, not very good, roll, not very good, shield, like you want to shield like a Marth down tilt. Well, too bad, because now you can't.
Right.
So like all these things that you become accustomed to just stop working. So it makes Game Watch lose its appeal. I think I think the general consensus is that Game Watch's offensive game is like really cool and diverse, and he has a lot of good big disjoints and like combo game. So I think people do appreciate that, but not enough to where it like outshines his poor defensive play, basically.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, do you really think, though, he does have potential to do more than what people give him credit for?
I do. I mean, if I didn't, I probably wouldn't play Game & Watch as much. I always like I play a lot of other high tiers and friendlies. I occasionally, for a while, I was counter picking, but I haven't done that in a little while now. I've just been practicing the matchups more with Game & Watch, and when I watch like my own videos, I still see a lot of like things I could be doing better. So until I get to a point where I feel like I'm playing at a really high level and still feel like it's not worth trying, then I will continue playing Game & Watch, basically. But even when I watch, if I watch myself like play against like Sheiks or Foxes, Peaches, like the hard matchups, I still see a lot of things that I could be doing better. So until I can get to that point where I can limit those mistakes, I think I'm just going to continue using that character.
I like it. Do you ever think about like a Smash philosophy for yourself somewhat, or a reason to keep playing this character and keep going in this direction, or something like that? You know what I mean? Where it's okay, I'm playing Game & Watch. What am I really trying to accomplish here? Do you ever ask yourself that?
Yeah, I mean, I think before, like when I first started putting time into him, it was just like I thought it was cool and like, let's see where this goes. But then I just continued like placing better and better. So I thought that it was fine. And then I think now that I put so much time into him, he's actually just my best character. Like I can't even argue that, or it's not arguable.
Right.
Like I still try my secondary sometimes when I feel like I need to, and I've tried going locals all with other characters, but I actually just think he is my best character. So at this point now, if it just increases my chance to win, to do better. So it's not as much of a like it's not like a choice I make against my like win percent or something.
Sure.
It's actually just the correct choice for me at this point. So obviously things like people enjoying what I do with the character like definitely motivates me and makes me want to play him more. So that definitely has an effect on like me wanting to play the character. But at the end of the day, it's also just the best choice for me too.
For sure. If you could, though, go back in time and pick any character to main up until... I know you knew this question was coming, but if you could pick any character going back in time, who would it be? If even anyone else.
Like, I don't have to switch?
Yeah. Even to this day, you could totally stay with Game & Watch, but if you wanted to, and you wanted to switch to a different character, who would it be?
Wow, that's a hard one.
Take your time, man. I'll cue the Jeopardy music.
Oh, man. That's hard. I mean, can I make it a toss-up between two?
For sure.
I'm unsure. Okay, so obviously, I mean, honestly, like where I am now, I'm content with like how I've progressed, especially with like how much time I put in. So I'm definitely very happy with Game Watch. I also I'm a big fan of Falco, so I think Falco would definitely be an easy choice as well. So I find Falco harder to play in tournament now, just because as Game & Watch, I have the privilege of like not dying off of one hit, and when that happens to me as Falco, it feels really bad because I'm so used to this privilege. But if I've never felt that privilege and just kept going with that character, I think my mentality would be more suitable for, you know, playing a character like that. So,
do you think you have a good mentality?
It depends on the day, but I think overall, especially in the last year or two, I do. Swedish he definitely helped me a lot at tournaments, like prepare for things. He has a lot of like experience, and he's talked to a lot of people for when it comes to things like that. So, like for example, this past weekend, he would be like, "Oh, you know, before your set, like go outside, get some fresh air, make sure you have water," like all these little things that actually just end up making a big difference. And I also think I definitely learned that, like, to like forgive myself for like making mistakes like mid-set and not like dwelling on them. I think that's really big too. I think sometimes one small thing, like mistake, happens to a player and they kind of just don't forgive themselves, and then it snowballs into like worse and worse decision making. So I definitely learned to get better at that also. So yeah, I think my mentality overall is pretty good. Obviously, you know, some days are just worse than others. But...
Sure. I love that though. I think that's a really good mentality I have. I don't know. I feel like I haven't thought about that before. Maybe people have said that in the past and I just have the world's shit memory, but I love that idea of being able to forgive yourself for small mistakes and things that, you know, like life is imperfect. You're never going to play this game perfect. You know, you got to... Yeah,
like
it's
your opponent's probably making mistakes too. Like, so...
I love that, man. Well, I'm glad to see a person having a good mentality of their mentality. And we've talked a lot actually about specific people outright, I think, so far. We've mentioned Swedish a lot of times so far. We've also, I think we've brought up Mr. F, you brought up who else was it?
Burt Bus Driver.
Burt Bus Driver, and that's exactly what I want to touch on. You're actually the second member of the Burt Fam Squad Nation to come on this show, second to Swedish. Burt Squad or Burt Family. Yeah. What do you call this?
Our group chat is called Burt Gaming. That's what we are. And there's actually Burt Gaming. Yeah, but so basically what Burt Gaming is all of us, like all the people you mentioned, including, you know, several others.
Big Daddy Ganon's in there too, ain't he?
No, he's MGFC.
He's MGFC.
Yeah, it's like a New Jersey county. But I mean, he's homies.
Fair enough.
But not quite Burt. But basically, Burt refers to like a lot of us, like we grew up together, like literally in the same town. We all went to the same high school together. We trained in Melee together, like spent countless nights, you know, degenning together. So that's kind of just like the group name we came up with ourselves. So that's basically how it came about. I think we just happened to get really lucky and have a lot of people, like, you know, pretty passionate about Melee and you know, always playing with each other and stuff. So
for sure,
yeah,
definitely,
that's pretty much how that is.
Definitely big shout out to the Burt Gaming Squad.
Shout out to the Burt boys.
Always shout out to the Burt boys. You have any funny or interesting stories of the Burt Gaming gang? you would want to share?
Oh man, I mean, there's just so many memories. It's hard to single out one, but actually, I do have one we could share.
Ooh.
So there was this thing we had called the Falcon Challenge. This is when, like, recently after Swedish from Falco to or Fox Falco to Sheik, and he was like his Sheik was just like really like naturally good already from the beginning, and we had this thing where there would be like 7 or 8 of us all sitting we were at Swedish's parents' house in the living room, and we would literally just take turns going Falcon against Swedish, and then it was like he would just destroy us one after the other, and basically the rule we had was whoever could actually finally beat Swedish with Falcon, everyone else would have to go to 7-Eleven. Like, we would all go together and buy them a taquito. That was like, it was the funniest thing, and it just never happened. Like, we would get so close and then choke, and we have footage of this too. Like, you see like we had one of our guys, he was about to win. His name's Aaron. He doesn't really come much now, but he like went off for off stage knee, like got the weak knee and just died, and it was just like it was the closest we've ever got. But Swedish, he was just way too good at that Sheik Falcon matchup. So it was just so funny though how we just kept trying, and we've done the Falcon Challenge like several times. It wasn't just that
still no luck at all.
Yeah, it just wasn't happening. I think eventually someone did it, but I don't remember. But he was just too good at it. And then like shortly after, or like not that long after, he like beat Hax's Falcon back when Hax was still a Falcon.
Oh,
so
wow.
We were like, yeah, that's that Burt practice. Yeah.
That's what happens when you practice against all us while we're trying to just win a taquito out here.
Yeah. So that was super hype though, because you get really close. You could just smell those taquitos in the last stock.
I can't say I've ever like dreamt so hard about a 7-Eleven taquito, but maybe that's just because I've never had them. I don't know.
No, honestly, they're now that I've gotten a little older now, I don't know thinking, but you know, when you're like in high school, like like early college type, like you're a taquito fiend. It's just how it goes.
Definitely understandable. I mean, they're what, like maybe 50 cents or some shit like that?
Yeah. They're something like that.
Dude, we fiend for the cheap food out here, you know, all about that.
Yeah.
You mentioned
that was a Smasher life.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I was just saying that was just a Smasher life back then. That's how it goes.
Oh hell yeah, dude! Dollar, lost confused parting out the McDonald's shout out, dude. The dollar menu was my ish. Dude, a McDouble with Big Mac sauce and a McChicken, bro. I'm set on $2.50. Let's go.
Yeah. That's dinner.
That's beyond dinner. That's dinner in the shits. That's that. So you mentioned this actually a second ago as well, MGFC. So what is that? That's the side stream of the Burt Squad?
Not exactly. It's a little different. MGFC is just it stands for Monmouth Gaming Fighting Crew, and it's basically anyone, any smasher who's from Monmouth County in New Jersey. Like they had like a group where you could join, and they would just kind of practice together. You know, they had jerseys and their like team thing going on. So they're still around, but they're not as active as they used to be. But people like Strict 9 were in MGFC, so I'm sure a lot of people know him. He's like really sick, New Jersey Falco. So. We have like Big Daddy Gannon and a lot of some other names, but that crew is a little inactive compared to before. But me and Swedish also used to be in MGFC back then, so we would rep the jerseys and stuff. So it was cool. It was like in several years ago. So
do you contribute a lot of your Smash friendships and such to these crews and these hangouts that you used to have with these type of guys?
Do I wait? Can you repeat that?
So, like, do you attribute? Let's say, like, people obviously have like heard of you through your Game and Watch and such, but a lot of your support comes from you have Burt and you have this MGFC. Do you accredit basically both to the friendships that you've made and all that through this? Like, how crucial is a crew to a Smasher?
Oh, it's super crucial. I mean, I definitely give thanks to all of them. It's definitely like how I got to where I am now, especially just like having a close group of friends to practice with, and then just especially like from a Game and Watch standpoint, because it's like if you're like unsure about like viability and things like that, if you're able to perform over and over against people who are good at the game and also completely understand your character inside and out, then it's like reassuring that the character is able to adapt and like do things that otherwise you wouldn't be sure about. So but yeah, and like they're all really good too, especially I think B-War, he's like a New York Fox now. I played with him a lot, and then Mr. F, Swedish's brother, I practice with a ton, and Swedish, of course, I played a lot too. But they're all like super good practice.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're born and raised New Jersey, or?
Yes.
Okay. And
yeah,
how often have you gotten to kind of like travel and gotten to see different scenes from all over?
I wouldn't like a decent amount, not too much. I usually attend around two nationals a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
So like typically like back in the day, Tri-State had a lot of nationals. Like we had like Zenith, we had Apex, we had Pound. I mean, obviously Pound is a Tri-State, but it's like very easy to get to.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot easier for me back in like 2014, 2015 era, like probably like 2012 to 2015. But since then, if you want to attend big events, you have to really plan them and make it out. So since then, I definitely haven't attended as many nationals. I would still go to like regional events, things like that, but not enough to like I guess not as much as like your average like high level player would attend.
Sure.
But especially now in these past year, shout out to Attack Mode. I'm definitely attending way more than I normally would. So that feels really good. And yeah, so I'm really happy about that.
Shout out to Attack Mode, Always shout out the sponsors, the homies, the fam that helps you get from place to place. But I mean, the reason I was bringing it up is because I hate that. You ever do that? You ever start a sentence with something and then you realize before you keep going that you're like, wait a minute, I don't like how I just started that. I'm gonna start this over.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't always think about this, but this is something I've started to think about more and more, and that's as a lower or mid-tier character player. Mm-hmm. When you're considering how you want to go about practicing or who you're practicing with, do you ever think about the places that you go to being any better than another? So let's say you're on the East Coast and you're practicing with your friends who've played you before, they know what you're going to do, or maybe they don't. Maybe you have new things that you're going to try out. But then let's say, I'm going to Genesis, so I'm going to practice with West Coast Smasher 1, 2, and 3, and they don't know, but they're a different play style. What do you find a better practice environment for? What do you find it as? Sorry.
I think like every region has like slightly differing play styles. I do think like when I went to Genesis last year, I think California players play much more different than here. Like it's the most noticeably different. So I think for example, the practice I got at Genesis, I felt like it helped. It helps like open my eyes to like new options or other things that characters can do. Mm-hmm. And then whereas when I play like with my own region, especially, I'm basically like more focused on like player habits and like the really like more detailed interactions that I've seen a lot over and over, and sure I like am prepared for all of those as much as I can.
Okay.
So I think there's always something to gain from every region. It's just in a different way. So like when I went to Cali, it was probably when I experienced the most like different kind of play styles, like more mixing up aggression with defensive play like more frequently, whereas I think Tri-State is more defensive overall. Mm-hmm. So it's like a really vast difference, but each way like has its own like benefits in terms of practice, I would say.
For sure. So my follow up to this is if you could shout out 3 hidden legends, and I say hidden legends as in like unknown bosses, just players you've played against within your years of experience that people may have never even heard of, that they should definitely start putting a fucking name to a character. You know, like you should know this person.
Right.
Who would they be?
Mm-hmm. Like any players of any character?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh man.
People that you were just shocked at how either good, how different, unique, anything.
Oh man. Oh, okay. I know one for sure. There's actually an MGFC player named Bab. I know a lot of people know of him because of his Falcon combo video, somewhat, but he rarely enters tournaments. I'm not sure exactly why. He kind of underperforms a lot, like based on skill level. But oh shit, he's right here.
He's in the chat. Look at that.
That's so sick. But I actually think Bab is like one of the sickest players ever. Like he's like a net play fiends kind of player, and but he's just not as known like nationally, whatever, because just of lack of tournament attendance. So that's definitely one.
Okay.
Let me think. Could be anyone.
Very well.
I'm trying to think of some old school players, maybe.
Ooh. Putting on the thinking cap for that one.
Yeah, that's hard.
Feel free, take your time with it.
I mean, I've always said this, like if I could sponsor any player and like to like actually play the game, it would be Strict 9. I know a lot of people know him because of his Apex set with West Balls where he beat West, but he's definitely been MIA for a while. I know he still net plays sometimes, but I think he's like one of the best Falcos I've ever played against. So I know like for a while he was struggling with some floaty matchups, couldn't quite figure it out, and then I feel like that might have demotivated him. I know he had some other like personal issues going on that I don't really know about, but he's just one of those players where I'm like, man, if this guy kept going, like he would have been so sick. I mean, he would be like, yeah, I haven't played in 2 weeks, and you sit down and play friendlies, and he does like a Octo Shine grab on you.
Oh my god.
It's like an exaggeration, but like that's how it is. It's like, yeah, I haven't really touched the controller in a little bit. It just does that. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
I will say you're definitely not the first person to even bring him up on this show. Actually, I can't, unfortunately, with all the people that we've had on this show. I can't like put a name to a face of who said it. But the only reason not to disrespect the guy, and I'm totally not trying to, but the only reason I know of that name, of you bringing it up, is because I've 100% heard that name on this show before, at least 2 other times, and I want to assume it might have been the Swedish interview or the Fendrick interview or even the Prague interview that I think he's been brought up.
Yeah, my guess is either Swedish or Prague, because they definitely know about him. So, and like he's just one of those players that every time you see him in a tournament, it's like, it feels so good. It's like, yes, he's playing Melee. Yeah,
that's my son.
I know like last pound, he almost beat Axe, and he hadn't even been playing, but they like the MGFC crew like literally had to like drag him out. Like he really didn't want to go, but they were like, no, you're coming with us. Nice try though. So trying to think of a third player.
One last name.
I keep thinking of good players that people already know.
I mean, you know, if you got to put it more into the record book, you know, why not, you know?
Yeah. Let's go back to that one. I can't think of one off the top of my head now.
You know what? Sure thing. Then the last thing that we're really going to turn it on over to is one of my favorite sections of this show, Tournament Tales. I'm going to bring up a tournament. You have no idea what tournament I'm going to bring up, but it's going to be a tournament, and I'm going to ask you what your favorite moment was, your favorite set, what you thought about the tournament overall. Yada yada yada. We could just discuss it for as long as your heart desires. And if you were to take a wild guess, what tournament do you think I might bring up right now?
What tournament right now?
Yeah. What do you think I would bring up?
I'm trying to think of a tournament that I did really good at. But
I gotta change that. I gotta start bringing up tournaments that people do bad at. God damn it.
Just like one where you like 0-2 out. It's like, oh, how do you feel about it? Are you happy with how you played? I'm gonna guess this is like probably wrong, but I'm gonna guess Super Smash Sundays East Coast.
Ooh. Final answer.
Yeah.
You should have gone with Bemmy's guess because it is the gang that steals the script.
Oh, he knows. He knows
So,
better than me.
I mean, he had the hard read. I'll give him that. But
Yeah.
I bring this one up because not only, in my opinion, is this one of the sickest losers runs I've seen in a while, but
Yeah.
it's one of the sickest low-tier losers runs I've seen in a long while. Like, at the end of the day, you got to remember this dude's out here beating people's asses with Game & Watch. That's not an easy feat at all. But to then place 9th out of 219 other people, that's fucking wild. My man, I want to know anything and everything you can talk about, especially the matches between Ryobi and Panos. But we can get to that once we get there.
Yeah. So that tournament, I lost to Rosin in winners of pools, and then I made it out from loser's side. And Rosin's a player that I lost to the last 2 times. He's like a defensive chic player. He makes it really hard. I have to like really capitalize on everything well, and I didn't quite do it. I wasn't like super on top of things, so I dropped that one. I wasn't like too distraught about it. I was just continuing going on, and then the more I played my loser sets, like starting off, I was pretty early on in losers. I think it was like top 64 round 1 of losers, so I had a long way to go. So my first few sets, bless you.
Oh, thank you.
My first sets, like I know I had a set against Sportsnick. He's a South Jersey Samus that I've played against before. So I was pretty comfortable with that, and I already noticed myself like starting to play better. And then I'm not sure who I played after that. I remember my run consisted of a lot of long floaty matchups, and it really tired me out by the end. But
Right.
I know I had Mog, who's like an MTVA Peach, and Peach is actually the first matchup where I stopped using Game & Watch for a while. I started practicing Marth for it with Swedish's, and I actually did try like my Marth against Ryobeat the previous time we played, and it went okay. I was able to take 1 game, and then but then after that I hadn't played a Peach in tournament for a while, so my Marth was kind of rusty, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna I like how my Game Watch played my last couple sets. Oh nice, we have the bracket.
Yeah, that new technology.
Yeah. Oh man, hi. So so my Marth was rusty, and I was like, I liked how I played with my Game Watch the last game, so I just went Game Watch, did what I knew best, and then I ended up 3-0ing Mog. It was like a really solid MTVA Peach. So I was like, wow, I don't know what happened today, but the matchup feels really good. And then immediately after, I think I had to play Ryobeat, who I actually have never beaten in my life.
Wait, get the fuck out of here! And then you 3-0?
Yeah, and then I 3-0'd him with Game & Watch. So I was like, I don't know, I was playing really well. The games 2 and 3 both went to last hit, last stock. Like it was super tight. By the end of it, like my heart was like racing.
Oh my god!
I just I spaced really well, and I kind of called out when he was coming in. I was like really paying attention to his like float timings, and I tried not to get down smash because that always really hurts. And another thing is I wasn't getting tilted after I got down smash. I was just more like trying to just like assess it from like a just like a point of view that's like not bad, where I'm just like, oh, I got hit by it because of this, as opposed to like, oh, fucking down, you know, like it wasn't one of those things. So I kept it together, and sometimes when I get down smashed, I kind of tilt, and then it just gets progressively worse. But this time
that mentality,
yeah, it helps, because I would, like, for example, you know, I get a lead, get a couple neutral wins, some combos, and then I get down smashed once, and the percents are tied, and I'm like, it's hard not to get tilted with that sometimes.
Oh yeah.
So I was proud of myself for not doing that, but so then I won game 1 I think on FOD, and then he counterpicked Dreamland twice, and I just edged it out both times. He pulled a Stitch in one game, but it was about time. Like, so I realized, I was like, I'm not allowed to get tilted over this, because like he probably should have pulled one by now, like statistically anyway. So
right.
It did help him like bring it back a lot, but I was like, you know, I just gotta be okay with that. So, but I don't know. I just stuck to my game plan, and I reacted well to like how he was coming down and stuff. So it felt good.
Hell yeah. And then we
Oh,
go
yeah.
to Panos, though. Panos is someone that I personally hadn't heard of until maybe like 2 months ago or something like that. I think it was Wasabi. Shout out to Wasabi. He hosted like a in-house tournament or something like that, and this guy shows up and he's just beating everyone's ass. I'm like, who the fuck was this guy?
Panos is like one of the hardest grinding players I know. Like he has like a practice
regimen.
Yeah, practice regimen that he goes through all the time, like, you know, dashing out of crouch and all these things that aren't fun to do but make you really good, like with your movement. So that was actually, I teamed with him at a New England tournament a few weeks before, but we've never actually played one like in singles before. So I feel really comfortable with the Falcon matchup overall. I think Falcon has a slight advantage. It's one of those matchups where whoever gets the first opening like really messes up the other character. And I think I was just getting more openings. I think the first game he was kind of getting a little accustomed to my character.
Okay.
He was just kind of like, when people just like run into my fair a lot and things like that, I'm like, oh, he doesn't know the hitbox yet. So by before the end of game 1, he was already spacing way better around it.
Right.
Game 2 was like a little closer, but it didn't work out. And then he went Battlefield, which is like, I always think that's the hardest stage against Falcon. His Falcon movement, especially his Falcon, is insane on Battlefield. So I think he destroyed me in that game. It was like a JV3 or something. It was really, it was really rough. But I had the counter pick for game 4, and my punishes were just really good. I would get one grab, one down tilt, and he would just die off of it a lot of the time. So I don't know, I felt really good after that set. But I was also so tired from 6 consecutive games against Peach and then like a Samus set.
God, yeah. That is painful to just see.
It's so tiring. And I was hungry. I was like, oh. So
I'm not even gonna use the whole no Johns on you. Like, yeah, that sounds like that fucking sucks.
Yeah, like that's a legit John, right? Like, you play 2 Peaches and a Samus, all in best of 5s. All of these are best of 5s.
Oh yeah.
And then a really fast Falcon after playing those guys. It's like, jeez.
Yeah.
So then
I'd be drained.
Then I got to Bobby Big Balls, who we played once before at Shine last year, and I won. But I felt like I was so exhausted from my previous runs that I just wasn't like finishing like my combos. I wasn't executing as well as I was earlier. So and he also got a lot better since the last time we played. So he was really making me pay for like not executing. So he played really well. I think I was able to take one game on either FOD or FD. But he played really well. So I was so close to top 8, but I didn't quite have the gas in the tank. So
you know, it's not always there, but I mean, still a hell of a fucking run. You know, you placed the same as Hacks and Dreffin. That's pretty fucking sick. And Silly Willy, can't discredit Silly Willy. He'd probably beat my ass, but that name is hysterical.
He was the top seed in my pool, Silly Willy. I didn't actually. I've heard of him before. He's like a really good Falco player, but I didn't actually get to see any of his sets that day. But it looked like he did. I mean, he beat Milkman, so that's pretty crazy.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, wow, he did. Holy shit. And Tiramisu.
Milkman got kind of messed up this tournament, actually.
Actually, hold on. Who did Milkman play in winner's side?
He lost to one of our New Jersey Chic players in winners.
Oh wait, yeah, he got knocked down in pools.
Yeah, he lost to Turtle
shit.
in winter semis of pools. Yeah.
Oh damn, that's wild. We won't focus on your loss, Milkman. Keep it going, man. You're sick too.
Yeah,
don't
he
get
is sick. Milkman is sick for sure.
But so if you were to think of a favorite moment or a favorite set from this tournament, whether you were in that set, whether you watched that set, whether you heard about that set, what would it be?
From this tournament?
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite set from it was definitely me versus Ryobeat, just because I think we've probably played a total of like 6 times, and it was my first time ever beating him. So it felt really good, and like I was so like patient and disciplined, and it's really hard to be that way for, especially in a best of 5 against Beat. So I was pretty proud of myself for being able to do that. So I was really happy about that. As far as the best set, I didn't watch all of top 8 because I was so starving after I lost. I think I just went to get food right after I got eliminated.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I think Turtle beating Milkman was actually really sick. I caught like the last stock of that basically. And it was a really good set. So it's always good to see like Turtle is like, he's like one of those players who's like on the cusp of being NJPR, and to see someone like, like that from your region do well is always good to see. Definitely.
I always love cheering for the homeboys, the fam, the squad, the friends.
Yeah, you want to see them thrive,
Always. What is it?
Yeah.
It's ASAP, right? It's the always strive and prosper. I think that's what their tag was. Yeah, I fucking love that. Shoutouts to the ASAP fam, but also shoutouts to Jersey. Keep killing it. You guys are out there putting in names.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you thought of your 3rd smasher yet?
I was hoping you forgot about it.
I could never forget. If you want to stick with the 2, that's totally fine. But this is more for you.
I do have a 3rd one, but people do know about him. But
fuck it.
I still, I just want to say Zealous 5000.
Yeah. I
know he was top 100 in the previous year, but and I know like he didn't make it the previous year just because of attendance, and also like he was playing Falco and like messing around. But when I play him and when I see him play, I just feel like he's so like knowledgeable, and he's so consistent with his tech skill and things like that I think he's like such a sick player. So
hell yeah.
I don't know, and I think like a lot of people just might not know about him also. So and he's another one of those players that's like really lazy when it comes to going to tournaments. So it's always really good when you see something. It's kind of like the Strick effect.
Right.
I was talking about before. You're like, yes,
he's here.
Yeah.
I mean, man, we take those. I'm sure no matter where he is or what he's up to, I'm sure he appreciates that just as much.
I hope so.
I'll turn it over. We got one last question in the chat from my friend Drew NG. If there's any others, I'll ask them as they come up, but this is the last one that I'm seeing. What is the most obscure Game & Watch tech that you know of or love showing off?
Oh, okay. I think you actually brushed on it earlier, but I actually really want to talk about it, and that's the rapid pan that Game & Watch has. And so basically, it's a really good technique, like if you're able to do it consistently, and the problem with it is being able to do it consistently. But basically, this is how it works. So every time Game Watch flips a sausage, the pan hitbox in front of him, it's like a big disjoint right in front of him. It stays out for, the duration of a sausage flip. But then after the flip ends, you have a 2-frame window to press the B button again, up to a maximum of 5 times. So you have a 2-frame window 5 times in a row to get to maintain that pan hitbox in front of you for the entirety of the 5 sausage flips. And so if you're able to do that, like just to give an example, like let's say like a Sheik has a full rack of needles. If you time the rapid pan correctly, the pan will actually absorb, like it just beats all of the needles while still flipping 5 sausages and like, forcing the Sheik to either retreat to platforms or shield.
Right.
So it just becomes one of those things where if you're able to do that all the time, you can corner some certain characters, you can force them to approach. But then the problem, like it even beats things like dash attacks and like even like Peach's dash, like one of the best ones in the game. Like it just, the pan just eats through it, burns her back, sausages fly down, and then now she has the shield. You can run up and grab. You can, if she jumps, you use one of your big disjointed aerials. So it's a really nice setup tool, good for cornering people. So it's just one of those things where you like, I always try to super practice it. There's actually a video on YouTube of Phenom, literally it's just a video of his hands pressing the B button at the right time to do it, and that's like how I learned it, and just like trying to ingrain the timing of it in my head. So on days where I'm able to do that well, I feel like I like do much better in matchups such as she. So I just think it's one of the coolest ones because like, even though, you know, Game Watch is like a mid to low tier, he's able to still like force other characters to approach him because he has so many disjoints that stay out forever. So like yeah, that's basically the coolest one, I think.
That actually, it's so funny you were gonna bring that up, because what I was actually gonna do is I was gonna either, if you didn't say that or something else, I was more gonna load up the, what is this? It's the video of the kamikaze glitch with him.
What's that?
Oh, with Game & Watch? Oh, you don't?
Yeah.
Oh, do I know something about Game & Watch that you don't?
Maybe. Maybe.
So what I'm gonna do here, I'll put this on the screen for those that also need to see this. Basically, when you load up Game & Watch's his bucket, and then you use it on someone that's full shielding, but it has to be like the projectile. So I guess like it's Ness's thing or something like that. Ness's PK Blast or Samus missiles. You just go fucking flying and you break their shield and you do damage to whoever you hit.
I've seen that before. It's actually insane.
That's so crazy. I'm gonna play that one more time. Look at this. Oh my god. It's nuts.
It's like a crazy momentum like generator.
It's actually the nuttiest thing I've actually ever seen. I want to be able to do this in the near future, and if I can't, I'm gonna be really sad. But it's just so funny.
You'll probably be really sad. It's really, the bucket is so laggy. Every time you absorb a projectile, you just get into so much lag.
It'll be worth it, man. It'll be worth it.
For sure.
Well, you know what, Qerb? That's all I've really got for you today, man. If this is honestly your time now. I appreciate you so much for coming on, man. This has been such a fun time getting to talk to you. If there's anything you want to shout out, plug, let the people know what tournaments you're coming up to, this is all you, man.
All right, thanks. Well, thanks for having me, first of all. It feels good to talk about things. It makes me think, you know, a lot also about myself, so that's cool. I'm definitely going to be going to Pound 2019 this year. That's my next tournament. I'm not sure from there. I'll figure that out after Pound, most likely.
Let's go. I'll see you there.
I'll also be at Quarterly Rapport this weekend on Saturday, and that's going to be on Sig Melee's channel. So if you guys want to see that, you know, thanks for everyone who supports me. Shout out to Attack Mode, Bird Gaming, you know. So, and thanks for having me again.
Of course, man. The honor is on all of us. I know it seems like we had a good amount of people coming in, loving hearing what you're talking about. You know, you got a good fan base behind you. You're a good dude. Thanks, glad to have you on, and you know, I wish you the best, man. I'll see you at Pound, I guess. Like that'll be cool. So
that's gonna be lit.
Yeah, people, make sure you come to that. Pay attention to this guy and everything he has going on. His socials have been in the bottom right hand side scrolling, as you've seen. I appreciate everyone that tuned in on this beautiful Wednesday. I'm glad people were able to accommodate for our little schedule change. Things should be going right back to normal this coming Monday. If not, you'll see it on the Twitter. You'll see it on our updates, all that good shit. Again, thank you so much to Qerb for being our guest for today, and we will see you next week. Everyone, you have a fantastic night. Take care.
Peace.